Hello, if you have ended up here in level 2, then you've either passed the section 3 mastery check on your first attempt, or you failed it and got through the section 3 practice and are now ready to talk about modeling with quadratics. So we have a set of data here that is apparently quadratic. We didn't check the second difference, but I see the word here that says find a quadratic model in standard form for the data. I'm going to change that to Vertex form by the time you read it, so you'll never even know that it said standard form. I'm going to go with Vertex form. It's really hard to get to match a graph, a quadratic graph, when you're in standard form. It's so much easier to do it in Vertex form. I love Vertex form. I think I'm going to name my next kid Vertex form. So first we're going to enter the data into our calculators. I'm going to hit pause for a second. Well, I'm going to not hit pause yet. I'm going to press the, go back to a step here. I'm going to first press the stat button. Many of you forget that's where you enter data, but you hit the stat button to enter data. So I've pressed that. One good first step anytime you're doing this is to press option 5 to do the setup editor and press enter. That takes care of a lot of common errors. Next I'm going to press stat again, and this time I'm going to go into edit. And now I've got some lists, L1 and L2. I'm going to clear those out. So I'm going to go use the up arrow, put on L1, clear it out, press enter, do the same thing. I'm going to go over to L2, clear it out, press enter, and now I'm going to enter my points. Here's where I'm going to pause it because you don't need to see me enter all of my points. So here we go. I have entered all of the points into my list, and now I want to see those plotted on a graph. So two things I've got to do. First, I hit y equals. You got to make sure that the word plot1 is highlighted. So I use my up arrow so that plot1 is blinking. I press the enter key. Enter. Now you notice how plot1 is highlighted. Right now I'm going to clear out any equations I have in y equals. Goodbye. And I'm also going to hit graph now. Now I see none of my points. Hopefully many of you are realizing that's because, wait for it, it's because you have not got the right window. So you could work on adjusting your window if you want, but your calculator has a really cool function called zoom stat. And zoom stat is number 9 in the zoom menu. And when I hit zoom, and then I scrolled it down to number 9, and there's zoom stat. When you hit zoom stat, it will automatically draw a good window to include all of your points. So I'm going to hit enter, and there are my points. Looks kind of quadratic. Looks like it might be not perfectly quadratic, but not too bad. So I'm going to try to get the best equation possible to go through all of these points. Now, it may not be perfect. Obviously, there's not all the points in a row in a perfect quadratic here, but I'm going to try to get as good of one as possible. And that's what vertex form is great for. So I'm going to use my little plus sign here and say, you know, if there is a vertex to this parabola, it's somewhere around here maybe. And it looks like to me the vertex is right around x equals 47 and y equals 31. And so I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to start my equation off. Parentheses, x, how can I have a vertex of 47, comma, 31? Pause for a second and think about it. Try it yourself. Plug it in. See if it works. And then come back. So I'm assuming you've paused and you've tried it. Hopefully you did a x minus 47 here in parentheses, closed your parentheses, and made sure you squared your parentheses, and then add a 31 at the end. That's how we get a vertex of 47, comma, 31. So let's graph that and see what our graph looks like. Ooh, you see that right up there? So I have a fairly good vertex, but it's opening up. Clearly it needs to open down. What can I do to make sure that it opens down? I am going to put a negative sign in front of the parentheses here. I can do that by pressing second function, insert, which is right here above delete, and putting a negative sign. Okay, now let's try it. Okay, it opens down now, and the vertex is not bad, but clearly this is way too skinny of a parabola. How can I widen this parabola? How can I get a horizontal expansion or a vertical compression? Those are both the same thing. How can I do that? Think about it for a second, pause the video, try it, and then come back. Okay, I'm going to try to put a number that is different than 1 in front of this parentheses here. So I'm going to go second function, insert, and I know that to make it wider, I need a fraction. I think I'm going to need a pretty small fraction. I'm going to try 0.2. And that's not even anywhere near wide enough. I need to get wider. So I'm going to try 0.02 maybe. Again, I'm going to use the insert function. So second function, insert 0. Let's try this. So I've got negative 0.02 now in front. Ooh, better, I guess. But I can still get wider. So I'm going to try it again. Maybe I'll try 0.002. I'm just throwing numbers out here to see how it looks. Oh my goodness, that's way too wide. I got to make that skinnier. So let's see, maybe I try 0.02 was too skinny. 0.002 is too wide. I don't know. So let's try 0.0. 0.9. Ooh, that looks pretty good. But maybe I could move it over a little bit more to the left. Right? I can move it over a little bit to the left here. So what would move it a little bit to the left? Think about that for a second and then come back. Move it to the left, I would want to make sure I don't go 47 to the right, but maybe I only go 45 to the right for my vertex. So I'll try this. That's pretty good. It goes through several points, and if I made it any lower, if I dropped the vertex any lower, I don't think it would go through as many. So I'm going to say that's a pretty good equation. I'm going to go with y equals negative 0.009 parentheses x minus 45 squared plus 31 is the best way to model this data with a quadratic.